No, I don't think I will, I said. Lauren gave me a strange look. What do you mean? You said I'd be here when you got back, and you'd tell me everything, she said. I won't be here, so you can't tell me. Where will you be? She asked. Somewhere else, I replied. She pouted. What do you mean, somewhere else? None of your business, I said. You're acting childish, she shot back. Grow up, Lauren. It's the 21st century. Things have changed. You've changed, I agreed. But I haven't, except for a bit of gray in my beard. You seem to have changed a lot, and not in a good way. She glanced at herself, still effortlessly gorgeous. What do you mean? You're meeting someone for dinner, and you won't even tell me his name. That sounds like change to me. It's nothing, she said, her tone defensive. I love you more than ever. This doesn't affect my feelings for you. I can't say the same, I told her. An hour ago, I loved you more than ever. Now. My feelings lean more toward disgust than love. She looked offended. That's disappointing. That's life, I said. I get disappointed all the time. Yesterday on the golf course, I expected to shoot an 85 but ended up with an 87. Why are you talking about golf? It's a frustrating game, I replied. You mentioned frustration, so I shared my own anecdote. My attitude clearly annoyed her. Tell Grant I'm leaving in 20 minutes, she said. Take me seriously and try to understand. I do take you seriously, I said. That's the problem. I've realized you're not a serious person. Her pride took a hit. I have no idea why you said that, she replied. Grant, I'm leaving. You'll see, nothing will change between us. I'll make you insanely happy. You don't realize it yet, but you will. You're wrong, I said. What am I wrong about? She asked. That nothing will change. Everything has changed. My attitude toward you has changed. What about Emma and Ryan? What will they think about their parents getting divorced? What the hell, Grant? We're not getting a divorce. What we do is none of their business. I agree. Not the not getting divorced part, but the none of their business part. Unfortunately, it's about what's happening between you and some unnamed guy. You're complicating things, she said. Grant, let's sit down and work this out. No, we won't, I said. I'm leaving. This is more important than anything you have planned, she insisted. I'm not sticking around. I decided a minute ago, I said. She looked ready to argue. Claire, you're too late. The moment you thought I would tolerate your behavior, you lost respect for me as a man and a husband. It was too late. That's not true, she shouted. I never lost respect for you. I don't believe you, I said. Everything you've done since you got home proves it's true. I'm leaving. Go on your date. I'm done. I grabbed my jacket, wallet, and keys, walked to the door, and left. She ran after me but didn't make it in time. I drove off as she opened the door and stepped outside. I decided to visit Emma. She lived about 4 miles away, so I sent her a message. Want to Netflix and chill, she replied instantly. Want company? I asked. She sent a heart emoji. I'll make popcorn. When I arrived, she was already on the couch. Her dog, Benny, greeted me enthusiastically, almost knocking me over with his affection. Hey, buddy. I managed to keep my balance and gave him a good scratch as he wriggled around, drooling on my pants and snoring with contentment. It takes about 10 minutes to get to Emma's house. By the time I settled on the couch, Emma had already poured me a glass of wine and placed a bowl of popcorn within reach. I sipped my wine and looked at her. Not a word, she said. I like sweet wine. You don't. You're in my house. Deal with it. I laughed. Hey, I tried to raise you right. It's not my fault you lost your way. She rolled her eyes, wiped a bit of lint off my pants, threw a plaid blanket over my legs, and snuggled in. So, what's Mom up to? She asked. I'm not sure, I said. She gave me a puzzled look. That's weird. Yeah, I agree. What's up, Dad? What do you mean you're not sure? When I got home from work, she said she was going on a date. I told her I disagreed. She said she would cancel it and we would talk. I decided I was done discussing it and left. So, I don't know if she's on a date or at home waiting to talk. Emma stared at me, shocked. What the hell, Dad? What do you mean by date? Emma, I'm as shocked as you are. She told me she was going on a date with a man but wouldn't say who, and expected me to just accept it. Dad, is this a joke? Are you sure you got it right? I wish it was a joke. I don't know what's going on, I said. I'm calling her, Emma declared. Lauren answered, and the conversation from Emma's side was intense. Emma didn't hold back. Where are you, Mom? With who? You just lied to me. Dad's sitting right here. You lied. What the hell is wrong with you? My mother just lied to me. Don't call me. Don't come here. When and if I want to talk to you, I'll do it, Lauren said before ending the call. We sat in silence for a few minutes. I didn't know what to say. Beck started to shiver, her breath hitching, and then broke into sobs. I hugged her tightly. She lied to me, Dad, Beck said, her voice trembling. She told me she was with you at the restaurant. She lied. I know, sweetheart. It's going to be okay. Please don't cry, Beck. How is everything going to be okay? She asked, sitting up abruptly. Her sad tears morphed into angry ones. My own mother just lied to me. She's on a date. Daddy, what are you going to do? I have no idea, I admitted. Beck, I'm floundering here. I came to chat with you to get my thoughts in order. I should have known you'd ask me. I'm sorry, it's not your fault. She grabbed a tissue, wiped her eyes, and blew her nose before flopping down on top of Davy, who let out an irritated snore. After a minute, she moved back to my side, snuggling against him. Davy always calms me down, she said, hugging him tightly. Hugging you always calms me down, I replied, holding her close. And, for the record, you smell better than Davy. She giggled. He's a little stinky. Talk to me, Daddy. Where did this come from? What's going on between you and Mom? What are you going to do? I'd love to answer, but I don't know. I'm shocked, I said, shaking my head. Beck sat quietly for a moment before suddenly pulling out her phone. We should call Sylvia, she said. Hey, Sil, where are you? I need you to come here right now. No, this is very important. I'll see you soon, Beck said into the phone. She's at Straps, Beck explained. It's a club nearby. She needs to grab an Uber. While we waited, we nibbled on popcorn and sipped wine, whispering about what could possibly be going on with Lauren. Sylvia showed up about 20 minutes later, greeting Davy before flopping onto the couch with us. Sylvia, 3 years older than Beck, was taller with dark hair and features that mirrored Lauren's. Despite her more mature appearance, she shared her sister's youthful energy. What happened? What's the emergency? I was at a party. Everything better be okay, she said. Beck gave her a disbelieving look. That's not good. Are you high? Sylvia laughed. I had 2 margaritas and a cocktail. Okay, Dad, go make some coffee, Beck ordered. This is serious, Sil. By the time I'd brewed the coffee and Sylvia had her second cup, Beck had filled her in on everything. Sylvia's initial smugness evaporated. "Daddy," Sylvia said, her voice trembling, "there's more to this, isn't there? Have you and Mom been fighting? Problems in the bedroom?" I groaned. "We fight sometimes, sure, but no more than we did when you two lived at home. Mostly, we fight about you two." Beck punched me lightly in the arm. "Hey," I chuckled. "And, no problems in the bedroom that I know of. If there are, your mom hasn't said anything." "I need to talk to her," Sylvia said. "Beck, you too. You need to talk to her." "Daddy, why didn't you stay and talk to her?" Beck asked. "Maybe I should've," I admitted. "I was too angry." She announced it so casually, like it was no big deal. Beck squeezed my hand. "I know, Dad, but we all need to talk to her." "When can you talk to her without losing it?" "I don't know," I said. "I hope it's soon. I can't take this much longer. I need to clear my head. I'm going to the lake to try to relax." "I'll come with you," Beck said, standing up. "Let me grab my bag and a blanket for Davy." She paused and looked at Sylvia. "Give Daddy a cigarette." Sylvia looked at me questioningly. I nodded, and she handed me a case. I wasn't a regular smoker, but the occasional cigarette helped with anxiety, and this was one of those times. Beck returned with her bag, grabbed Davy's dishes, and we headed to the truck. Sylvia walked us out. "I'm going to talk to Mom in the morning," she said. "Beck, let me know what happens." "Daddy, don't do anything stupid, okay?" "Maybe," I said with a wry smile. "I'll try not to do anything super stupid." Sylvia hugged us both. Davy leapt into the car, and we drove off. On the way to the lake, Beck peppered me with questions. Some I could answer, most I couldn't. When we arrived, we let Davy out, and he bounded toward the water. Beck and I walked hand in hand along the shore, watching Davy swim and chase frogs. Some things hadn't changed. By the time we got back to the cabin, it was dark. I checked the kitchen. "Want a mojito?" I asked. "Yummy," Beck replied. "I want some." I made 2 large drinks while Beck lit the fireplace. We settled in, sipping our mojitos and talking. I lit a cigarette and finally felt a small sense of calm. "What do you think, Daddy?" she asked, her voice soft. "I have a few ideas, but it all depends on your mom," I said. "This is so messed up. She might claim she's lost her mind and take it all back." "Where?" "In therapy?" Beck asked, laughing. "Maybe," I chuckled. "I'd try it." "What if she's determined?" Beck asked, her tone more serious. "Then I guess it's court," I said with a shrug. "But I can't see why she would want that." "I have no idea," Beck said, shaking her head. "You're smarter than me, Daddy. You'll figure it out." "No, you're the smart one, Beck. You'll be a psychologist soon." "Why do you think she's doing this?" Beck sighed. "People cheat for revenge, commitment issues, physical attraction, or lack of fulfillment. But I don't think any of those apply to Mom." I stared into the fire, the weight of her words settling heavily on me. If she has complaints, she should talk to me and let me fix what's wrong. "Yeah, you'd think so," Beck said. "We'll find out. I'll talk to her tomorrow." "But, Dad, you'll have to drive me back to get my car." Surprisingly, I slept well that night. I watched a few videos until I drifted off. The next morning, I got up, got dressed, and took Davy outside. He wandered around for about an hour, exploring like the curious dog he was. When we got back, Beck was already awake. "Do we have anything to eat, Daddy?" she asked. "Not really, honey. We should have stopped for groceries on the way here." "It's all right," she said. "You can take me out to breakfast." I want French toast at Gailey's. Deal. We left Davy at the house, already drowsy after his big breakfast. Beck and I talked over French toast and coffee about hypothetical situations, school, my job, Davy's antics, and her internship. Afterward, we picked up her things, loaded Davy into the truck, and I drove her back home. When I got back to the lake house, it felt eerily lonely. I missed Lauren and the times we'd sit together doing nothing. I missed Beck, even Davy, and the lively energy they brought. Deciding to keep busy, I took the boat out and caught 6 nice crappies. I cleaned them and found some frozen fries to make a meal. The fresh fish was delicious. Later, when I turned my phone back on, I saw texts from both Beck and Sylvia asking me to come over to Beck's place. When I arrived, they were finishing off a pizza. Beck handed me a beer, and I joined them at the kitchen bar. Well, I talked to her, Beck began. Me too, Sylvia added. And? I prompted, bracing myself. You're not going to like it, Beck said. She told me she wasn't happy, not with you, but with her life. She thinks it's boring and lacks excitement or challenge. Some guy she works with has been hitting on her, and she likes the attention. She says she wants to go on dates. And she says she loves you, and you can date too. I sat there, letting Beck's words sink in. Sylvia, did she tell you the same thing? Pretty much, Sylvia said. Daddy, I don't think it'll last, Sylvia continued. She'll figure it out. Damn, Syl, you don't mind this? Beck burst out, her anger rising. I didn't say I was fine with it, Sylvia said calmly. I just think it won't last long. She'll get over it, and things will go back to normal. I was dumbfounded. And what am I supposed to do while she comes to her senses? Love her. Be patient. Let her calm down, Sylvia said. She loves you, Daddy. She's just having some midlife issues. Midlife issues don't mean running around with other men, Beck snapped. This isn't a fun phase. What other options do you have? Sylvia asked. Divorce her. Lock her in a cage. I don't know, I said. Divorce is an option. No, it isn't, Sylvia insisted. Jesus, Daddy, don't go crazy. You and Mom are meant to be together. Shouldn't you talk to Mom? Beck asked, glaring at Sylvia. Tell her not to freak out. This is some crap, Sylvia. You're taking her side, and Dad hasn't done a thing. I'm not taking sides, Sylvia replied. Well, that's the problem, Beck retorted. You're supposed to take sides, not sit there spouting this, be patient nonsense. She went on a date with some creep. You know he's an idiot for hitting on a married woman, and she's wrong for letting him. Let's take a breath, I interjected, trying to calm them. So what do you want, Beck? Sylvia asked sharply. For our parents to get divorced. It's not about what I want. It's about what Daddy wants. Daddy didn't want this. Mom did, and she has to fix it. She can have what she wants, but until she gets her head straight, my relationship with her will depend on what I want. And what will that be? Sylvia asked, her voice softening. I want to see her as little as possible and not hear from her at all, I said. So you're going to dictate our relationship with Mom? Sylvia accused. I'm not dictating anything, I said. But if you can't see this as Mom's fault, then you've got the same problem she does. Whoa. Let's not let this get out of hand, I said, trying to hug them. Beck let me, but Sylvia grabbed her bag and stormed out the door. Beck and I watched as she got into her car, sat there with the headlights on, turned them off, got back out, and then finally drove away. I'm so mad at her right now, Beck said, fuming. I'm sorry, Dad, but that was crap, she added, pressing against me for comfort. Yes, it is, I agreed. But it's not Sylvia's fault, Beck. It's your mother's. You girls shouldn't be in this position. We had a special family. Our lives revolved around each other. I'm closer to you girls than most fathers are. I know, Beck said softly. And you always had a great relationship with Mom. You and Sylvia shouldn't be in the middle of this. It's not your fault, Dad, Beck said firmly. It's Mom's mess. But Sylvia acting like it's no big deal is so frustrating. Don't burn any bridges, I advised. Let me talk to her. I love you, Beck. I don't want you hurt more than you already are. She hugged me tightly. I trust you, Daddy. I'll wait and see what happens. Keep me close, okay? Always, I assured her. It was time to confront Lauren. I did everything wrong. If you think this is just about mismanagement, we're wasting our time, I said. I don't understand, Lauren replied. There's no way you could have mitigated telling me you were going on a date. Do you get that? I understand what you mean, but you don't understand me, she said. I should have explained what I was doing to make it tolerable. You'd need to be a wizard for that, I said. Do you have magical powers? She smiled faintly. Not quite magic, but almost. Go ahead, Miss Le Fay, I said dryly. Think about it, Barnes. How old are we? I'm 48. And I'm 49, she said. I feel every one of those years, not physically, but emotionally. Remember when we were 25? Yes, I remember everything. We felt alive, like life was full of possibilities, like love was new every day. Do you remember? Yes. I love our routine, but I want to add something new, bring back some excitement. I get that, I said. But you think we can't do new things together? I think we can, she said. I told you I'd go on a date and share the experience with you. You could do the same. Lauren, your idea of together and mine are different, I said. What do you mean? When I say together, I mean just you and me. Introducing someone else fails the together test. She paused, thinking. How long has it been since you spent time alone with another woman? Besides family, about 6 months. Remember Kansas City with Amber? We met with the telecom reps. She nodded. I know Amber well. Tell me, Barnes, is there any tension between you two? Not that I know of, I said. She's gorgeous, but I'm married and 10 years older. We don't flirt. We have a good working relationship and friendship, nothing more. Well, you said it yourself. She's gorgeous and single. What if you took her out to dinner, hit the nightlife, and danced together? Wouldn't that be exciting? Holding all that beauty in your arms. Wouldn't that get your motor running? Maybe. That's why I don't, I said. Why not? Because I'm married to you, I told her. I don't put myself in situations where I'm tempted by anyone but you. And if I was okay with it, she asked. It doesn't matter, I said. It wouldn't suit me. She sighed. I'd be okay with it now. I'm more mature. I'd put up with it. And I think you should put up with me doing the same. No, that's not what I signed up for. You promised me, and I promised you. If you want to leave, that's your choice. If you're determined, I can't stop you. I only control myself. I don't want to leave, she said. I want to be more free and spontaneous but stay married. You'll do what you want regardless of how I feel. I can't accept that. You've been hiding this from me for a while. What else have you been hiding? And then there's your stunt on Friday night. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I was mad when you left. That's a lie. You planned this long before Friday. You lied to Beck too. You're good at that, I spat. You had your chance to manage this. My position hasn't changed. It's not about how you go about it, it's that you did it. You plan to do more, and you want to. I control myself, so I'll just get my stuff and leave you to it. Barnes, that's not what I want, she protested. I'm not doing it. But you want to, I said. Right now, I have zero trust in you. You think I'm boring and need excitement. Even if you don't act on it, I'll always know you think that. We want different things. So let's move on. I went to the basement, grabbed my luggage, and started packing. I took what I needed for a week, planning to return later for more. She followed me, saying we could work it out, but I didn't listen. I loaded everything into the truck. Lauren tried to get in, but the door was locked. She stood in the driveway as I drove away. It was depressing. I loved her and felt like I lost half of my heart. I couldn't see a way forward. I stopped at the grocery store to distract myself, but the drive to the lake brought it all back. I turned on a podcast but didn't register a word. When I arrived, I took my things inside in a daze. I thought about calling Beck or Sylvia, but I was too exhausted. An hour later, my phone rang. It was Sylvia. Hi, honey, I said. Where are you, Daddy? She asked. I'm at the lake. Where are you? I'm at your house. Mom called and asked me to come over. I got a call from Beck. Hold on, it's Beck. I'll call you back. I answered Beck and told her I'd call her back. Then I called Sylvia again. I'm glad you're with your mom, I said. She's in total distress, Dad. You should be here with her, not me. I know, Sylvia. This is difficult. Do you want to talk about it over the phone? She was quiet for a moment. No, I guess not. Are you coming back? No, I'm not. I'll explain when I see you. It's not good, but I guess it is what it is, she said. I have to work. I can't stay here long. I'll stay tonight, but I'm really busy at work. I don't know about tomorrow. Your mom works too. That's not your concern. You do what you need to do. Your mom and I are adults. She snorted, clearly upset. I'm so sorry, Sylvia. I know this is hard for you. I love you. You're my first child, and you'll always be special to me. She gasped softly. I love you too, Daddy. Bye. I composed myself and called Beck. Hi, honey. Are you okay? Daddy? She asked, her voice trembling. I will be. Are you okay? Same here, she said. I guess you're at the lake. Yes. Want to come out? I'll tell you what happened. I'm packed, she said. All my classes this week are online, but I have to work on Wednesday and Thursday. Can I stay the week? You don't have to ask. I'll spend every second with you, I told her. I know. I'll be there in an hour. I've got dinner ready, I said, setting the table. Soon after, I heard the sliding door open and the clicking of Davy's claws on the floor. He sniffed the food on the counter, so I gave him some love and a few trimmings from the pork chops. As I washed my hands, Beck hugged me from behind. I hugged her back. It smells good, she said, swatting Davy away gently. No, Davy. She wiped his mouth and settled him down before we sat to eat. I think it didn't go well, Beck said after a few bites. No, I admitted. She had a lot of explanations. It boiled down to her being bored and wanting to feel young again. Fine, she said, rolling her eyes. If you were seeing Mom as a client, what would you say is wrong with her? I wouldn't consider her a client. But if someone came to me with her story, I'd say they're depressed and facing a transition. There's no such thing as a midlife crisis. I thought it was real, she said. It's not a diagnosis. It's a transitional period. Some people feel their mortality and start doing stupid things to maintain the illusion they're immortal. Wow, Beck said, smiling. Who would have thought? My baby is so smart. Yes, I am. Don't forget it, she teased. Do you think she should see a therapist? I'll tell her, but I won't get involved. I understand. I'm sorry you're caught up in this. It's not your fault, she said, her voice softening. I feel bad for you, too. We'll get through this. Yeah. We don't have any other choice. Sylvia arrived Tuesday night. Beck made potato salad, and I grilled hamburgers. We ate on the porch. Dad, Mom's a mess, Sylvia said. Yeah, pretty much. What are you going to do? She asked. She wants you to come home. She promised to forget about all this. She sees the damage she's done and is sorry. I'm sure she is, in a way. What do you mean, in a way? Sylvia asked. It's hard to explain. I need a minute. Girls, want a drink? What do you have? Sylvia asked. I've got stuff for Palomas. Yum, Beck said. I want some. Sylvia agreed, so I mixed the drinks and gathered my thoughts. We settled back on the porch. I turned to Sylvia. Are you still dating that guy? Dickweed? Beck teased. Sylvia laughed. No, I realized he's an idiot. I have a new boyfriend named Richard. Oh my God, Beck said, and they both burst into laughter. I tried again. Well, suppose Richard told you that you were boring. How would you feel? Not good. I'm not boring. No, you're not. But if he feels that way, can you argue with his feelings? I see what you mean, Sylvia said. Beck, you don't like raisins. Sylvia, you don't like coconut. That's how you feel. Would you feel differently if I told you you did? No, Beck said. Did Mom really say you're boring? Not in those words. She said a lot about how exciting life used to be, how we're stuck in a rut, and she wants to bring that excitement back. Can you feel it, Dad? Beck asked. Maybe a little, I said. I know I'm not 25 anymore, but I like what we do. Otherwise, I'd be doing other things. I don't see anything wrong with that, Sylvia said. What did Mom say? She wants to do different things, but not with me. She likes being pursued by other men and wants to date them. Oh my God, Beck said. How do I handle this? Can I tell her she's wrong? Feelings can't be argued away. Will excitement magically appear? No, it won't, Beck said firmly. Honey, do you really believe this hit her suddenly on Friday? She's been thinking about this for a long time and didn't say a word to me. I know, Beck said. Me too, Sylvia added. Dad, if she gets therapy and changes her mind, can you work it out? I shook my head. She thought she could just tell me she was going on a date and I'd be fine with it. That's very disrespectful. Sylvia sank into her chair. I know, Dad. What if she's truly sorry? She said she's sorry she didn't tell me better, not for doing it. I'll talk to her, Sylvia said. Beck, can you help? If she agrees to see a therapist, I will. If she asks for help, Beck said. But she has to want it herself. Sylvia left unhappy. Beck and I stayed in touch with her, but Lauren dismissed the idea of therapy and only mentioned couples counseling. Are you ready for this? Beck asked. No. I'm not interested in other women or sharing her with other men, I said. What if you thought of it as a break and got involved with other women? Sylvia had asked. Then, once Mom sorts herself out, you can get back to normal. May I? I had replied sarcastically. What if in a few years, she feels bored again? Besides, I don't know any hot chicks, even if I wanted to, and none are waiting outside." They both laughed. "You look good for your age," Sylvia said. "If you were looking, you'd have no trouble." "I'm not interested," I said firmly. "No, Sylvia, I just can't." "Are you disappointed?" she asked. "In a way, yes," she said, after a moment. "I hate it when you and Mom aren't together, but I respect you for knowing yourself and sticking to your morals." "Thank you," I replied. After 2 months with no change, I filed for divorce. Lauren called immediately. "This has gone too far, Barnes. Are you divorcing me? You have no reason to. What are you going to tell the judge?" "I don't have to tell him anything. That's the definition of a no-fault divorce." "What will you tell others?" "We had a disagreement, and you divorced me." "I won't tell them anything. It's none of their business." "I'll be there. We need to talk before it's too late. Do you want me to make dinner Friday night?" "Yes, that would be perfect." I was finishing dinner when I heard the door open. It bothered me that she just walked in. Technically, we both owned the lake house, but I didn't go to our house in town when she was there. I only got my things when she was at work. She looked as stunning as ever, still making my pulse race despite everything. Lauren tossed her purse on the chair and walked over. She moved to hug and kiss me. I managed the hug, but the kiss was too much. She looked hurt, but so was I, and for good reason. "What can I do for you?" she asked. "Everything's ready. If you want, you can set the table while I get the dishes." We laid out the food, poured the wine, and she started. "I don't want a divorce, Barnes." "Why not?" I asked. "Because I love you and want to spend our lives together." "But why? You've been unhappy, remember?" "I never said I wasn't happy," she said defensively. "You expressed your displeasure clearly enough. You misunderstand me. I'm quite satisfied. I just wanted to add to our satisfaction. By dating other men. That made me uncomfortable. The simple answer is divorce. You can have fun with other men, and I won't be displeased." "I don't understand. I want to stay married and have fun with other men. That's not what I want. I don't want to be married to someone who wants to date other men." We finished dinner and moved to the couch. "So that's it?" she asked. "Even though I love you and chose you, you don't want to be married to me?" "Yes, Lauren, that's right. Look at me, Barnes," she said. She climbed into my lap, kissing me passionately. For a moment, I was lost in the sensations, but then I stopped responding. She slowed and stopped. "What happened?" she asked. "Have you met anyone?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Yes, Barnes." "Are you going on a date?" "Probably," I said. "I like being married. I don't think it's boring. Could I be one of those women you're dating?" "Maybe, but I don't feel the same way about you. Maybe I'll stop being angry, but I wouldn't hold my breath." She got up, picked up her purse. "Let me know if you change your mind," she said, and left. The divorce went to court, and her attorney requested counseling. The judge explained he had to schedule it if one party requested it. "I'm not doing this," I told my lawyer. "Figure it out." "I can't. It's the law." "What if we withdraw the divorce petition? Will he still order it?" He looked stunned. "No, I don't think he could." "Is that what you want?" "Yes." "Do it," I said. This surprised everyone, and Lauren looked smug. After the proceedings, I told her, "I won't be forced to do anything. Until you're done with this, don't contact me. I'll never speak to you again if that's what you want." Her jaw dropped, and I walked away. She tried to talk to me for 2 months, even through Sylvia. Beck's relationship with her mother deteriorated, causing tension between Beck and Sylvia. Lauren tried to come to the lake house, but I changed the locks. She even came to my work, and I had to kick her out. After 2 months, she gave up and told Sylvia she would no longer seek counseling if I wanted to sue. We did, went to the same judge, and the divorce was uncontested. She kept the house in town, and I got the lake house. The property was equitably distributed. She kept her business, and I kept mine. No spousal support, and we both kept our pensions. The usual divorce proceedings, boring, tedious, and annoying. I started buying businesses and quickly retired. I fished, learned to water ski, and spent all summer on the boat with the girls. By October, I applied for a visa to become a resident of Mexico. As a tourist, I could stay for 180 days, which gave me time to decide my future. I winterized the house, traded my Chevy for a diesel-powered F-350, bought a luxury camper, hooked up the boat, and headed to Lake Picara in Sinaloa, Mexico. The girls were a bit upset, but I bought them plane tickets to Guadalajara, promising beach time. They were thrilled. I bought a 5-acre piece of land near the lake, got utilities, and became a local. On my second fishing trip, I caught a 14-pound bass and was hooked. Sylvia visited in January, and we had a great time at a hotel in Puerto Vallarta. On the last day, she asked, "You're not coming back, are you, Daddy?" I'm leaning towards staying. You girls are the only reason I'd come back, and I'll visit you often. What about Mom? Sylvia asked. I guess she's mostly working. She seems sad, not as energetic as before. I don't think she found dating as wonderful as she thought. I'd rather not talk about her, I said. Okay. Sylvia gave me a sad smile. We shrugged off the bad vibes and had fun during her visit. I drove her to the airport, and she left with hugs and tears. Beck visited in February and stayed with me in the camper. We spent 3 days at the beach, then she wanted to see where I lived. When we drove back to my place, she was impressed. I can't believe you have such a beautiful place, she said. It would be better if you lived here, I said. She looked thoughtful. I have no idea how I'll make a living. I'd like to use my degree. It's agribusiness, I said. She laughed. Farming? What does that have to do with looms? I got into machine tools from working at a farm implement dealership. It started with making harder pins for combines. I had no idea, she said. Well, there are ways to use your degree. Explain, she said. You're a psychologist. You mainly listen to people's concerns. Bartenders do that too. She laughed, staying for 2 weeks before flying back. I missed her but soon returned to my relaxed lifestyle. 6 months later, Beck called. I need a favor. If I can do it, I will. I need a loan. A big loan or just short on cash? A big loan, she said. I want to buy a cabin. Is it an existing lodge? Does it generate income? Can I see it online? I hoped you'd go see it. It's 10 miles away on Lake Picara. Really? You've checked the books? Yes, it makes good money. They have a bar, so I could listen to people's problems. I laughed. How much do you need? She showed me a staggering figure. Wow, Beck, you went big. Go big or stay home, she said. I'll prepare a payment plan, I said. She assured me it would be short-term. Once I own the business and show a profit, I'll get bank financing. Right now, I'm like someone with no credit rating. I understand, I said. That's so cool, Beck. It'll be great to have you here. I'll take a look and let you know what I think, but you need to see it for yourself. 3 weeks later, she arrived, and we checked out the place. It catered to fishermen, mostly from the US, and seemed like a great investment. 6 months later, Beck owned the business and ran it well. Davy became a local celebrity, and we spent a lot of time together. Beck sometimes worked at the bar, and it was fun to watch her use her psychology skills. The restaurant was first class and always crowded, but there was always a seat for me in the kitchen. One Friday night, the chef asked if I minded another guest sitting with me. I agreed. When he returned with the guest, my jaw dropped. She was stunning, elegantly dressed in a yellow outfit that highlighted her complexion. She had glossy black curls streaked with gray, high cheekbones, and dark eyes. The chef introduced us. Miss Valiente, this is Mr. Barton. He's the father of the lady of the house. I stood as she sat down and introduced myself. Barnes, please. No, Mr. During dinner, she laughed, a low, musical sound that captivated me. You can call me Nita, she said. Her English was accented but flawless, her voice low and smooth. She had already ordered a glass of sangria. I struggled to find something to say to this remarkable woman. It's pretty crowded, I finally managed. Lucky they have this table. I didn't make a reservation, she said. Usually Tomas finds me a seat, but tonight I didn't want to sit at the bar to avoid someone. I see. Well, you're safe with me. My mission is to keep obnoxious guests away from beautiful ladies. She blushed. I'm pleased to have a gallant protector. She laughed again, sending goosebumps down my arms. Do you dine here often? Yes. Like Tomas said, my daughter owns this place. And even though I can cook, I prefer coming here. Ah, sweet Beck, she said. I like her a lot. We're becoming friends. That's good to hear. Do you live nearby? I have a house on the Sinaloa River and also in Las Mocas. I'm pretty mobile, Barnes. What about you? I have 5 acres nearby with a couple of buildings, a truck, and a camper. I like that I can go anywhere. You recently moved here from the US, like Beck. I've been here about a year, I said. Beck visited, fell in love with the place, and bought this cabin. What brings you here? Fishing at first, I explained. I sold my business in the States and wanted to travel. What kind of business did you have? She asked, then hesitated. I apologize. It's none of my business. I laughed. No need to apologize. I made parts for companies like Caterpillar and John Deere. Ah, the industrial tycoon, she said with a brilliant smile. Not likely, but I've been retired for a long time. But you are so young. I was lucky, if retiring at 49 is considered lucky. I'm not retired, she said. I could be, but I feel like I have things to do, Nita said. Like what? I asked. If you don't mind me asking. I'm a smuggler, she said softly. Seeing my reaction, she laughed. I'm joking. I own a pharmaceutical company that supplies prescription medications to the Mexican Social Security Institute. Wow, that's impressive, I said. That's why I live in Las Mocas too, she added. Maybe I should retire and become a slacker and dreamer like you, I laughed. You speak excellent English. Thank you. ¿Te gustaría saber cuál es mi negocio aquí? She asked. We switched to Spanish. Yes, tell me about Nita. She smiled. I have many acres along the river, some horses, and lots of Gelbvia cattle. I don't know them personally, I joked, making her laugh. I'll have to introduce you to some, she said. You're very funny. Can I ask if Mr. Valiente exists? No, he used to. He died in a petrochemical plant explosion. I'm sorry, Nita. It's okay. It's been 11 years. I remember the good times. What about Barnes? She asked. Beck has a mother. Yes, and another daughter, Sylvia. She's 3 years older than Beck. I showed her a picture of Sylvia. She's very pretty. She doesn't live here. No. She lives in the States with her mother. My wife and I divorced 2 years ago. Is that a sore subject? It was, but less so now. We wanted different things. She wanted an open marriage, and I didn't. I'm sorry to hear that. That's life. Say, Nita, can I take you to dinner next weekend? I'd love to, but I have to be in Las Mocas until next Tuesday. How about the Friday after? Sounds great. Can I get your number? Sure, she said, entering her number into my phone. Maybe when you pick me up, I'll introduce you to some cattle, she giggled. I walked her to her car, a new silver BMW Z4. She kissed me on the cheek, and it felt electric. You were a charming dinner companion, Barnes, she said. Thank you for letting me join you. The pleasure was all mine. I can't wait for our dinner. You have my number. Call me in the late afternoon. I will, I promised. I closed her door and watched her drive away. She was exquisite, and she was going out with me. I felt high as I went to say goodnight to Beck. Did you like her? Isn't she amazing? Did you ask her out? Beck asked excitedly. You set me up, I said. Yes, I did. She's perfect for you. Did she agree? Yes, next Friday. But I need transportation other than the truck. You can use my car. Thanks, Beck. I'll need my own soon. The next day, I texted Nita. 2 evil women are conspiring against me. She sent smiley faces with hearts. Resistance is futile. Beck has confessed, I added. I can't wait for our dinner date. She sent more emojis. The days felt like an eternity. I hadn't felt this way since high school. I wrote to Nita daily, and she replied 2 or 3 times, sometimes skipping a day. Twice, we talked on the phone. Talking to her was a new experience. She switched between Spanish and English, telling me about her day. When she returned, she called, and the excitement grew. I drove Beck's car instead of the truck for our first date. Following the directions, I reached a gated path with no house in sight but found a call button. Hola, es Barnes, I said. Nita's voice replied, laughing. Luis, tu acompañante ha llegado. The gate opened, and I drove down a long driveway to a huge mansion on a cliff with a stunning view of the river. A young girl opened the door. She was gorgeous, about 12 or 13, and introduced herself as Pia, Nita's daughter. Pleased to meet you, Pia, I said in Spanish. You look a lot like your mother. Do you speak English? Yes, I speak English, Spanish, and French, she said, blushing. I know English better than French. I'm sure you're good at all of them. I want to take your mom out to dinner. Is that okay with you? She gave me a critical look. Yes, you are very charming for an older man. I laughed. You're a flatterer, and I'm not old. She giggled. You must love Beck a lot, she said. Same here, I replied, taking her hand. She led me into a large open space. This is Zanetta, Pia introduced the older woman. She takes care of me and the house when Mom's not here. Would you like a drink while we wait? What do you suggest? I asked. I drink lemonade. We also have juices and adult beverages. Lemonade sounds delicious. And just call me Barnes. Okay, just Barnes, she said, eyes flashing with laughter. She poured lemonade, and we carried the glasses to the living room. The sliding glass doors opened to a porch and a mahogany deck overlooking the river and valley. I like it here, Pia said. Let's sit and talk. Your mom never mentioned you, I said. Maybe she's embarrassed to have such an impressive daughter. She doesn't tell anyone about me for fear they'll like me more than her, Pia joked. We laughed as Zanetta brought more lemonade. Thank you, Zanetta, we said together, making Pia giggle again. You steal other people's thoughts, Pia said. Everyone around me wears tinfoil hats, I joked. We might have some. Should I warn my mom? No, I need to know what she's thinking to make her happy. Good plan, she said. This is my first date in years, I admitted. I need any advantage I can get. Will your mom be ready soon? She likes to make an entrance. She'll be down soon, Pia said with a grin. Thank you, Pia. I heard Nita's voice, low and husky, and turned to see her descending the stairs. She was breathtaking in a simple, elegant white linen dress with lace at the neckline, sleeveless, and paired with tan platform sandals. She wore a wide-brimmed white hat and paused, clearly posing to impress. See? Pia brought me out of my stupor. You're very pretty, Mom. Don't you agree, Barnes? I cleared my throat. Yes, Nita, you're gorgeous. She smiled. I see you've met the pre-call. Yes, and it was a pleasure, Pia. I hope to see you often. You are a charming lady. I finished my lemonade and walked over to Nita. You never mentioned this little beauty. I wanted her to be a surprise. I know you love your daughters, and I wanted you to love mine. She's my life, Barnes. Yes, I can see that. We went to a nearby restaurant with a lively atmosphere. The food and music were wonderful, and I danced with Nita, who was an amazing dancer. Holding her during a slow dance was unforgettable. The drive back to her place was a blur of happiness. At her door, she kissed me, and it was electrifying. Before I left, she invited me to bring Beck and spend a day with her and Pia the following Saturday. On Tuesday afternoon, Sylvia called. Dad, when can I hang out with you and Beck? How about 8 tonight? We're having dinner at Beck's. Great. Could you ask her and send me a snap? Sure. Is something wrong? No, I just need to talk to you. I always need to talk to you too. Love you, Sylvia. Love you, Daddy. Beck was fine with it, and we were in her living room when Sylvia called. After the usual conversation, she said, Dad, Beck, I hate living here without you. I'm tired of dating idiots, hate my job, and Mom makes me miserable. I want to move there. Really? Beck was excited. That would be amazing. Sylvia, can you get a job? I think I've already found one. I'm buying the travel agency that books cabins on the lake, including yours, Beck. Wow, you've really planned this, I said. Sylvia, we'd love to have you here. Are you sure? Positive. I wanted to talk to you first in case you didn't want me. She sobbed, breaking my heart. Sylvia, I'm sorry I made you doubt that. I love you, and I'll always want you in my life. Me too, Syl. You're my big sister. Remember when you spanked Jamie Myers for picking on me? She giggled. Yes, I did. He was a creep. When do you think you'll move? Beck asked. It might take a month or two, but I've already started. It's exciting. I can't wait, Beck said. We talked for another hour. That night, in the camper, I reflected on how great my life was. Beck had moved in, I'd met Nita, and now Sylvia was moving in too. Things couldn't be better. On Friday, I asked Nita if I should bring anything. Beck says you make great pico. Bring that. I bought fresh ingredients and made a big bowl. On Saturday, we took the truck to Nita's. I wondered what she and Pia would think of it. They clearly weren't poor, and I wasn't either, but I liked my choice of living simply. Would they think I was a tramp? We'd find out. Pia ran out as we arrived, hugging Beck first and then me. We're going to the river. Mommy made everything for the taco feast. Yum, Beck said. Come inside, Pia said. Mama and Zanetta are packing. She took us inside to the kitchen, where Nita and Zanetta were packing coolers and baskets. We helped, and soon everything was ready. Barnes brought his truck. "It'll be perfect for transporting us," Pia said. Her phrasing made me laugh. What a delightful girl. We loaded into the truck with Beck and Pia in the back seat and Nita in the front with me. As we drove, Nita pointed out various buildings. "It's good to have you with us," I said. "I would never have found my way out of here." She laughed. "There are several places you can go," she said. "There are barns for different functions." "What kind of buildings?" Beck asked. "Horse barns, equipment barns, storage barns, livestock barns, and paddocks," Nita replied. We arrived at the river, where there was a gazebo, a dock, 3 jet skis, picnic tables, and a grill. "I plan to heat everything up on the grill," Nita said. "But we can use your stove, right?" "Of course," I said. "All the comforts of home in a small package." "I'd love to see inside," Pia said. "Sure, I'll give you the grand tour," I said. We put the taco shells in the oven and I showed them around. Pia explored every corner, lying on the bed, sitting on the chairs, and checking out the appliances. She and Beck carried our stuff to the tables, giving me a chance to kiss Nita. She responded with a passionate kiss that left us both breathless. "Hello, beautiful," I said. "I couldn't wait to do that." "Me too," she whispered. Beck and Pia returned, and we made lunch. Everyone praised my Pico, and we chatted for an hour before Pia suggested jet skiing. The girls changed into swimsuits, and I put on my swim trunks. We quickly launched the jet skis. "Can I come with you, Barnes?" Pia asked. "I'd love that," I said. "You drive, then I'll take a turn, and Mom can go with you." When Nita and Beck appeared in their bikinis, I was momentarily stunned. Nita was especially breathtaking. She caught my gaze and blushed. "Ready?" she asked. We all got on the jet skis. Nita led the way, and we traveled upstream for about 5 miles. She pointed to a cliff with a rope swing attached to a tree. We shut down the engines. "Do you want to swing on the rope?" she asked. Pia was excited. "Yes. It's so much fun," she said. "You'll swing high above the river and drop into deep water." I decided to give it a try. Nita held the jet ski as we climbed to the top of the cliff. "Who wants to go first?" I asked. "Beck should go," Pia decided. Beck grabbed the rope and swung across the river, falling into the water and resurfacing with a big smile. "Oh my God, Daddy, that was amazing. You have to try." Pia went next, flipping through the air and swimming back like an otter. Nita followed gracefully. Then it was my turn. The height was intimidating, but I forced myself to jump. The swing was exhilarating, and I plunged into the cool water. It was fun. Nita and I watched as Beck and Pia took 3 more turns. Pia then decided she wanted to drive. We drove back, lifted the jet skis out of the water, and sat in the sun with cool drinks. As evening approached, we packed up and headed back to the house. We thanked them for a wonderful day, and I stayed for dinner. "How are you feeling, Daddy?" Beck asked later. "Pretty good. A little tired. Sun and water can really wear you out." "That's not what I meant. I mean about Nita and Pia. Pia is a little dull. It's impossible not to like her. And Nita, well, I've developed feelings I never knew I had. She makes me happy just being around her. She's beautiful, warm, funny, smart, a great mom, and independent. She's everything a man could want." "I know. She seems to like you too. She told me she thinks you might be the one." "There can only be one," I said. Beck laughed. "Just don't screw it up. I put a lot of effort into this. I'll do my best." "Thanks, Beck. Now, you need to focus on finding love too." "I will." I've been busy with work, but my eyes are open. I hugged Beck and drove home. Nita and I started seeing each other 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes I took Pia fishing or water skiing when Nita was away on business. I fell in love with Pia as if she were my own daughter. After 4 months, I was completely in love with Nita. When we were together, I was the happiest I had ever been. When apart, I constantly thought about her and dreamed of her. We texted all the time, and she sent me pictures on Snapchat. We kissed at the end of every date, and I wanted her in every way. I was careful, as she was special to me. Beck and Sylvia loved her too. The 4 of them, Nita, Pia, Beck, and Sylvia, often spent time together, with or without me. One Monday, I called Nita and asked if she'd like to go to Tulum for the weekend. She called back immediately, excited. Really? I've never been there, but I've heard it's beautiful and has Mayan ruins. She was in Las Mocas, and I suggested flying from there. What about Pia? She asked. Is it just for us? Or do you have a plan for her? I was planning on taking her and seeing if Beck and Sylvia could come too. A family celebration. She was silent for a moment. Barnes, I'm very touched that you consider Pia and me family. I'll be glad of that. And I hope Sylvia and Beck can come too. They feel like my daughters. They love you and Pia very much, I said. Do you love me very much? She asked. I paused, then said, Nita, I want to tell you everything in person. Yes, I understand. Sorry for asking over the phone. We'll talk in Tulum. I laughed. I checked the flights. One leaves at 3 in the afternoon. Will you be ready? I'll arrange it, she said. Drive carefully with my daughters. Sylvia and Beck were able to go, and Pia was thrilled. We set off on the drive, with Pia as our DJ. We took turns picking songs, teasing each other about our choices. We picked up Nita and headed to the airport. The flight was smooth, and Tulum was as beautiful as Sylvia had promised. Our hotel was luxurious and on the beach. On Saturday, we enjoyed the beach and the crystal-clear water. In the evening, we went to an open-air restaurant. Beck and Sylvia took Pia to a beach party and informed us she'd stay in their room that night. Nita and I were left alone. We walked back to the hotel, and I pulled her tightly against me. Well, that wasn't suspicious at all. I think we were set up, Nita. She laughed. I think you're right. Do you mind, Barnes? Not at all, I said. I love it. As long as you do, I'm happy, she said. I took her to my room, made drinks, and we sat on the couch with her snuggled up against me. Nita, you asked if I love you. I want you to know I love you more than I ever imagined. Since the moment we met, I think of nothing but you. You fill my heart, mind, and life. I love you so much, I told Nita. She looked into my eyes, her deep, almost black eyes full of emotion. That makes me very happy, she said. I love you, Barnes. After Emiliano died, I didn't think I could love again. But now I have you, and you own my heart. My heart belongs to you. I want to give you all of me. Oh my God, Nita. I've wanted this since I first saw you, I said. You're the most gorgeous woman I've ever met. I'm not afraid, she said. The only thing scary would be if you didn't love or want me. I'd have to be crazy not to love and want you. Don't ever doubt it. You're the most desirable woman I've ever seen. She chuckled. I don't need thousands of men, just one. After that, we made love and went to bed. I woke to the sun streaming through the curtain and Nita sleeping in my arms. She looked so beautiful, calm, and peaceful. As we dozed, there was a knock on the door. Come back with a warrant, I shouted. It was Beck. I put on my robe, and Nita pulled the blanket over herself. Beck, Sylvia, and Pia rushed in with a cart full of breakfast. Beck and Sylvia jumped on the bed with Nita, laughing and talking. Pia sat on my lap, her midnight hair swirling around us. "You love her, don't you?" Pia asked. "I love you, and I love her too," I said, hugging her tightly. "I want to be your daughter like Beck and Sylvia," she said. Tears of happiness rolled down my cheeks. "I'm honored you feel this way," I said. "I'll try my best to be everything you need." "Are you marrying Mom?" she asked. "So we can be a real family." "There's nothing I want more," I said. "But I need to talk to your mom first, just the two of us, and I'm not ready right now." I leaned in and whispered, "I don't have a ring." "Ah, I understand." We had breakfast and then hurried to catch the shuttle to the Mayan ruins. The sight was awe-inspiring, made even more special by having Nita and Pia with me. We flew back Monday morning, tired but happy. After dropping Nita off, I took the girls ring shopping. We found a jeweler from the Nahuatl tribe with a large collection of stones. We chose a red-orange fire opal surrounded by 4 small diamonds. The jeweler said he could make it in 2 weeks and send it to me. When I told Nita I wanted to go back to the gazebo by the river, she seemed to know what it was about but just told me to come. Pia was excited and had to retreat to her room to avoid giving it away. In the gazebo, I knelt down, and Nita's hand went to her mouth. "Nita, I'm not good at speeches, but I love you with all my heart. I don't want to live without you and Pia in my life. Will you marry me? I'll do everything to make sure you never regret it." I opened the box, and she held out her hand. I put the ring on her finger, and she said, "Yes, Barnes, I want to be your wife. I want to love you always." She admired the ring. "I can't believe you got a fire opal, my favorite stone." "A little birdie told me," I said. "I think I know that bird," she said, tears of happiness in her eyes. When we got back to the house, Pia was already waiting and ran to us in excitement. "I can't believe it. You're going to be my father, Barnes." She burst into tears. I knelt down and hugged her. "I thought this would make you happy, baby girl." She pressed against me. "Yeah, I was hoping. I thought we'd never find anyone." "You found me," I told her. "I'll never let you go, Pia." She clung to me and sobbed for a few minutes. "It's such a fire," she said. I laughed. "You've been hanging out with Beck too much. You're starting to sound like her." She chuckled. "She's teaching me lots of good words." We set the wedding date for December 5th, and Nita walked down the aisle in gold. I was the happiest person in the world. She said she had worn white before and wanted to break tradition. I moved in with her, but we kept the camper for vacations. I removed it from the truck, which we used for its intended purpose. I had never been happier. The only hiccup came in our second year when Sylvia said she needed to talk. We were sitting on the deck when she said, "Mom wants to visit." I sighed. I guess it was bound to happen. "When is she coming?" "For Christmas," she said. "Sylvia, what do you want, dear?" I asked. She hesitated. "I wanted to spend Christmas here with you and Beck. Now I have to spend part of it with Mom. Beck doesn't want to, so I'll stay with her. I still love Mom, Dad. I'm sorry if this disappoints you, but I remember all the good things." I hugged her. "I'm not disappointed. I'm proud of you. It's going to be okay. You can still spend time here. Tell your mom you already have plans for Christmas dinner. She'll have to deal with it. It's her fault, not yours." "It's hard," she said. "I just wanted you to know." "What if she wants to talk to you? To see you?" "Let me talk to Nita," I said. "She's smarter than me. Let's see what she says." Sylvia spent the rest of the day with me and Pia, and we had dinner together before she left. When Nita returned from Las Mocas, I told her about Sylvia's visit. We sat on the sofa, watching the fire, and she sipped her wine thoughtfully. "What do you think of meeting her, Barnes?" she asked. "I suppose it was inevitable. She's the girl's mother." "I don't have any special feelings for her," I told Nita. "I loved her for years, but she ruined it all. The good times are overshadowed by the way it ended." Nita snuggled closer and rested her cheek against my arm. "I think we should all have dinner together at the cabin. I want to get to know her, Barnes." "Really?" I asked, surprised. "Yes. She's been a part of your life and the girls' lives. I can meet her myself." It made me nervous, but Nita was independent and did what she thought was best. When Collins arrived, she stayed in Beck's cabin. I saw the girls less often, assuming they were spending time with her. Nita did meet her, and if there were any issues, she didn't mention them. "What do you think?" I asked Nita after Collins had left Beck's place one evening. "I like her," Nita said. "Really?" "Yes. She's changed a lot. Sylvia and Beck agree she's become introspective and friendly with us." "That's good, isn't it?" I asked. "I think so. We talked about you." "God, I hope you weren't listening," I said nervously. She laughed. "She only said good things about you." I snorted. "I'll just argue." Nita smiled. "She didn't admire your stubbornness, of course." "Right," I said. "But you're still here with me." "Absolutely. I adore you, Barnes. That's never going to change." Pia came in and snuggled with us, and I hugged my two girls. 2 days before Christmas, it rained heavily, causing the river to rise. We had to save the dock, carrying it up 3 times overnight. The water also knocked down 2 sections of our fence, and I fixed it early Christmas morning with the help of a laborer. We planned to eat at 2 o'clock, and I expected Sylvia and Beck to arrive by then. After finishing the fence, I showered and changed. When I was ready, I looked for the girls but couldn't find them, although Sylvia's car was there. I made spiced rum punch and cider, then heard voices at the entrance. Pia ran in and sat next to me. Davy lay across our legs, sighing contentedly. "That smells good," Pia said. "It's rum punch," I said. She took a sip and wrinkled her nose. It smells better than it tastes." I laughed. "It's an acquired taste. Try the spiced cider instead." She took a cup, and Beck walked in. She liked the rum punch. Sylvia followed, and then my jaw dropped as Nita walked in holding Colin's hand. They saw my reaction, and Nita hurried over. "Don't be angry, Barnes. Collins didn't have anywhere to go, so I invited her." I wasn't angry, but I wasn't thrilled either. Nita pulled me to Collins. "Collins wants to talk to you," she said. I offered Collins a cider or punch. She chose cider, and we walked to the office. I sat in my chair, and she took Nita's. "You look good, Barnes," she said. "Thanks. You too," I replied. She looked great, even a bit thinner. "I need to apologize, Barnes," she said. "I was selfish and disrespected you. I know I caused pain, and I don't deserve forgiveness, but I hope you can forgive me." I took a deep breath. "I've thought it through," I said. "There were consequences, but one of them was releasing me to find what I have now. I was bitter and resentful, but now I'm not. I'm sorry I caused you pain." She looked relieved. "I forgive you," I said. "You know Nita and Pia. They're dear to me, and Sylvia and Beck love them. You'll always be their mother. You're welcome here anytime. Nita and the girls say you've changed. I hope you live a happy life." "I'm going to. And if you can accept that, I'll think well of you." "Can we be friends?" she asked. "We'll see," I said. But no nonsense. She laughed. No, I won't. You've landed on your feet, Barnes. I'm still finding mine. Nita knocked. We're ready to eat, she said. We sat at the big table. Pia said grace, and the air filled with laughter and happy voices. I looked at Nita, who smiled and winked. Pia sneaked bits of food to Davy, and my daughters chatted non-stop. Colin seemed to be enjoying herself. It was going to be a good Christmas.